We're already into March. I remember New Year's Eve. Uh, it's just absolutely crazy. But the good news is that we've been coming together and we've been able to share our lives in person recently. There we go, we're on. And that's been wonderful. We had a lot of people here last Friday night and on Saturday morning, and I encourage you, if you're in town, to come by to on the weekends and come and say hello. So we're continuing our discussion of Shmini, which is the only story really that happens in the book of Leviticus. Although there's a lot to talk about in the other Torah portions, I do love that there's one story in there. And you know, there's lots of kind of technical ways that we could look at this story as to why it's there, and is it a polemic, and is it giving Aaron power? And I want to talk about Aaron for today. You know, there are some who believe that that the whole reason for this story about Nadav and Avihu, who brought this strange fire and then were killed by God, was to give Aaron the power that, you know, if you don't do this right, if it's not the high priest doing it, if it's not the right people doing it, and if you're not doing it in the right way, don't do it at all. Because if you try to do it, look what's going to happen to you. The curious and strange, very strange moment is right after Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, are killed. You know, God's like, if you want to come close to me, I'm going to be close to you. And if you don't, then I'm not going to be anywhere near you. And that was just to kind of say, you know, you got to come close to me in the right way. And then you listen for Aaron's response. And I have a lot of ambivalence about Aaron's response. The reason why I have such ambivalence is because all we do here when we're together, not all we do, but what we do when we come here together is we go silent. We spend 20 minutes in silence. Aaron finds out that his sons were killed by God, and it said Aaron was silent. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't yell or cry or get frustrated or angry or anything. He's silent. Rashi believes that because he was silent, God speaks to Aaron directly right after this. But I mean, I have to think there could be lots of reasons why Aaron went silent. Maybe he was afraid of God. He was afraid if he spoke up, something would happen to him. I also have had this idea since I was in my early 20s, this concept called emotional closeout. And it's kind of like that moment that hits you, that there are so many emotions that it could be, and it's so shocking, and it's so intense that you literally close down your emotions. And hello, Valerie, and don't, you know, you can't handle feeling it. So your emotions, it's an emotional closeout, and you're just like that. Perhaps that's what happened to Aaron. He was so overcome by the myriad emotions he was feeling that he just couldn't say anything. I like to think that the silence that we embark in as we gather here together 3 days a week is so that, is so that we can, after this silence, that we can understand what we feel. Now maybe that's part of what he was doing. It had just happened, and maybe he needed a moment to be silent, to be quiet, in order to kind of understand it after he breaks his silence. I like to think that's what we're doing. It's almost like the silence prepares you for how you're going to be and what you're going to do with what has happened to you in your life after. Aaron really doesn't do much. He does order some people to bury his sons, but he really doesn't deal with it in the text. Perhaps he did that on his own. But I'm choosing to think of this silence for myself as a silence that allows me to notice, and a silence that allows me to understand better how I'm feeling. I was talking with someone last night about this idea of our feelings right now at the end of this pandemic, or what we think is the end of this pandemic. And there are so many mixed emotions that I feel. There's so many kind of different ways that I feel than I had in, the 50-something years I lived before the pandemic. And it has been this silence and this time that I believe has allowed me to cope with the, strange feelings, the hargeshot zarot, like the Eish Zorah, that strange fire that Nadav and Avihu came. I almost feel like there is this strange fire that has entered into me that has given me feelings that I had never really felt before on a regular basis like this. So this silence for me has been really, shall I say, a godsend for me to be able to recognize the feelings, at least, so that I can internalize what's going on for myself and head into the world and not have it rule me. I'm not always successful, but the silence that the silence and the breathing and the noticing does help keep me, kind of in this state, in this kind of calmer, I don't know if it's easygoing, but quieter, calmer state. And I just wanted to say one last thing about silence is, I find there's many times when I'm in meetings or I'm with people or something's happening and I'm silent. I'm not really talking, or I'm not participating. Sometimes I feel, I don't have to talk to be a part of the group. And if I don't really have something to add to it, why talk? Why bring my voice to something if I really don't have something to bring? So that's kind of the last thing I would say about that. Let's hello Kathy, and there's Valerie again. Oh, you guys are all it's the two of you having a conversation. Let's get ourselves ready for our quiet time and notice what's happening with you. Notice where your thoughts do take you, and just kind of allow everything to be just as it is for these 20 minutes, so that when we go back, that silence is used. Silence is used in a way that brings us hope and brings us perhaps even out of whatever it is that's bringing us down, if there is something that's bringing you down. So, okay. Just for breathing absolutely normally, just taking our regular breaths. If you feel like you have to take a deep breath, by all means. We're just breathing. imagine your thoughts have already many times taken you away from your breath. So I invite you to, without judgment, just to bring yourself back to your breath. As we've come to the last 5 minutes or so, I'd like to turn our attention to 2 questions. Since it's Wednesday, our 2 questions are, may I feel luminous? May I feel loved? May I feel luminous? May I feel light? May I shine? May I glow? May the energy that's inside of me come out for goodness. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. There's many times we are loved, but we can't bring ourselves to feel it, or we don't want to allow ourselves to feel it. May I feel loved is an invitation to really find that place or those places where you feel loved. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. If you'd like to offer this to someone else, you can put them in your mind's eye right in front of you and offer these feelings to them. May you feel luminous. May you feel loved. May you feel luminous and loved. May you feel luminous. May you feel loved. May you feel luminous. invite you to just bring it back to yourself. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. You can continue on with asking those questions, or just finish up by breathing once again and feeling the breath. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you were able to find some peace and stillness in our time together. May you feel luminous, and may you feel loved, and may you have a lovely evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.